Hello there, and welcome to Gilchrist TV, your international TV show, channel 144. And this is Dr. Bob Flower, Executive Director of the Gilchrist Institute for the Achievement Sciences. And of course, we have a very interesting show for you today. If you recall, I've talked in the past recently about a program that we are currently developing. It's called Yes I Can. And I want to introduce you to the gentleman who gave birth to the concept and met with me. I know this gentleman for about 5 years. Met him when I was on the campaign trail a number of years ago, and he has a very interesting life story himself. Quite a rags to riches episode, and he's like the Gilchrist Institute, dedicating himself to helping underprivileged and people who want and need help, and providing it for them in different ways. And we're teaming up with this Yes I Can program, and we're going to talk to you about that today. But first, I want to introduce my guest, Mr. Ray Simmons. Raymond, my man.
Thank you, sir.
And Ray, I want you to tell the people a little bit about yourself and your background, and lead up to where we are today.
Okay.
Ray is also an author, by the way. He writes a lot of different papers on helping veterans and inmates and former inmates on developing themselves, developing their potential. So take us away, my man.
Thanks for having me here, Dr. Flowers. As he told you, my name is Ray Simmons, and I'm an ex-offender. And one of the things that we're doing is to try to assist ex-offenders as well as the veterans. I'm from the South Bronx originally, and we was really, really poor. And I was a victim of my environment, trying to be like the tough guys in the neighborhood. I wanted to be a tough guy so bad that it landed me in prison. So I was so tough that I got behind some tough bars. In any event, as a result of doing time, I got education. I got my high school diploma, I got some college degrees, and as a result of going to school, I realized that I could think, because see, from my neighborhood is how good you could fight. If you could think, you was considered a nerd, but if you was if you can fight, everybody loved you. And of course, when you're a young 17-year-old or 16-year-old, you want everybody in the neighborhood to love you. So upon my release from prison, I started a company called Operation Prison Gap. And Operation Prison Gap was a company that dealt with taking families to prisons. As a result of that company, I was able to get my mother out of the ghettos, move her up into to Westchester, buy her a home, and to get my whole family out of the ghettos, and they all worked for Operation Prison Gap. And Prison Gap now has been around for 40 years and started it in 1975. So, lo and behold, I wrote a program called Yes I Can. It's a positive motivation course. It's a 10-subject course that deals with transforming the minds of people from negative to positive. A lot of people are walking around feeling negative and have no idea how they become so negative. You can become negative as far back as your mother's womb. If your mother had a negative pregnancy and she had all these bad thoughts go in your mind, all these thoughts of confusion go in your mind, and you come out confused and lost and have no idea why. So those are one of the things that we do in the negative. The first subject is negative attitude. And in that first subject, we deal with how you became negative. It could be your environment, your associations. And after we do negative, we go to the positive part of it. The next subject is positive attitude. So we teach you how to be positive. The third one is self-esteem, teaching you how to love yourself. So I developed a program. Originally, it was for ex-offenders. Then I moved on to young youth, high school, junior high school, ages from the 8th grade up to high school. And I've been very successful in doing it in the schools. Then as time went on, I realized that the veterans are having some serious issues, whether we know it or not. The suicide rate for veterans is extremely high. So upon finding that out, I said, wow, you know, somebody need to do something for these guys. So I came to Dr. Flowers and I told him my idea, and he lit up like a light bulb. He was like, wow, somebody does need to do something for these vets. So we partnered up together to take our program to the extent where it can help veterans to feel good about who they are. Make them not feel self-conscious or guilty for anything they had to do in the war as far as having to maybe kill somebody. You know, just imagine you go to war and you have to kill people and what it can do to you when you come home. So a lot of them feel guilty, and I try to make them understand that it wasn't your idea to do this. This was your duty, this was your job. And if you wouldn't have done your duty and your job, you wouldn't be here to be able to tell a story.
Right. Let me stop you there for a moment. I just want to advise the viewers, we do have a live call-in. Our toll-free number, as you see above, is 1-800-414-4135. And feel free to call and ask us whatever questions you want, either of Ray or myself. And Ray, I just want to touch on a few things with you. You said that among the programs that you had developed, you work, and I believe you're working with young
Yes.
high school
Yes.
kids right now.
Yes.
What is their response to you? What is their interest in what you have to say, and why do they take the attitude that they do with your presentation?
Well, the thing that gets their attention is when they find out that I'm from where they are now. That's the first thing. I explain to them where I'm from, South Bronx, Forest Projects, the things I went through, the tough guy scene. So once I go through all that, then they can relate, because now they see me as one of them, or used to have been one of them. So I get them to listen, and once I get them to listen, then I have a Pied Piper effect on young people, because after they hear my story, and my story it's not glamorous, but it's really, really streets. I had a serious street situation. I thought, as a matter of fact, I didn't think I was one of the baddest of the bad. And I'm not saying it to brag, I'm saying it to say how I was a victim of my environment. And in my environment, it was the tough guy who was important. So I became important to them because I was no longer a tough guy. Now I was a former tough guy, and explaining to them why they shouldn't be a tough guy, explaining to them where tough guys wind up at, either in prison or in the grave. So I get their attention. And
Okay.
once I get their attention, they start listening to me and they start wanting to be like myself. One of the problems I find myself having is I can get these kids, these young children, adults, to follow me to the end of the world. But the problem is I haven't had anything to lead them to.
Right.
So one of the things I was serious about working on is programs for young kids after school, junior firemen, junior sanitation men, junior building inspectors, things that they could do to earn some sneaker money. They might not have the extraordinary outfits like the drug dealer have, but they'll still look as good as the drug dealer, and they'll still get attention, and it'll make them realize that this drug dealer don't have a future. But if I continue like I am, I'll still be here. And so that's what I get in their mind. But one of the problems is, again, I'm working hard on trying to develop programs that would keep them occupied after the Yes I Can program.
Okay, so let's put that in a context, okay? So what you're doing is you are changing their perspective of as a role model, and you're able to do that because they relate to you culturally,
Right.
right? The education, the environment, the background, educational feed that they get. Sometimes they're just completely turned off by it. But when they see somebody like yourself,
Right.
who's gone through what they're going through, they're more readily adapted
Right.
to that situation. Then the problem then comes, what do they do? Where do you bring them so that they can get a job, or they can get a learning experience that's going to foster a positive lifestyle, something that they can be proud of, that they don't have to worry about they're
Right.
going to get shot, or they're going to
Right.
get killed, or they're going to end up in jail, or be looked upon negatively by society. And I think that's a significant problem today.
It is.
And in the same respect, your ex-inmate program is based on the same modeling.
Yes,
Is
it
that
is.
right, Ray?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, since you were there, you were in prison, and you came out, you turned yourself around. You're presenting that picture to these people, but you're still running into the same problem there, Ray, with where to take them to?
Yes, that's the same situation. These guys, a lot of these guys come out of prison and they really want to change their lives. Like myself, when I went to prison, I got education. I felt good about who I was. And when I came home and went around, my first love dream was to work in a youth center helping young kids that was like me. So when I went to apply for these jobs, it was like, well, do you have a degree in psychology? Do you have a degree in psychiatry? I said, no, I have a degree in life.
Yes.
But that didn't matter to them.
Yes.
So it was like, no, we can't use you. So it was very, very discouraging for me. So what I wound up doing was I just wound up getting the idea of Prison Gap, and I started busing families to prison. But when I first came out of prison in '74, you could fill out an application and you can say, if they say, ever been arrested, you can say no. Now, to show you how incarceration is just another form of genocide, in my opinion.
Incarceration.
Incarceration.
Yeah, okay.
Now, if you put on an application that you're not on parole, and the parole officer find out, you go back to jail.
Is that right?
That's right. So now what does that tell you? That tells you that when a guy come out of prison and he's looking for a job, and if he has to say that he's been in prison, and then they say, don't call me, I'll call you, what is he going to do? He's going to do what he think he knew how to do best, which is the same thing that got him incarcerated.
Right.
So it's a no-win situation.
Okay.
So these guys' hands are tied. I mean, you find some police people that will say, okay, you're an ex-offender, I'll accept you. But that's not the majority.
Yeah, yeah. And from my experience, and tell me how you relate to this, is when you try and get these people into, say, a union, it's almost impossible.
Yes.
You can't, they just close the door on them.
Yes, they do.
So that they're not helping the community in the respect of either training these people or assisting these people, and in a sense, it's diminishing the society's ability to grow,
Yes.
to receive the benefits of, for instance, union training in various
Right.
applications. So there are very few doors that are open to these people.
That's right.
As you're relating, and I know my own experience. So now enter Yes I Can. You come to the Gilchrist Institute, and you present your ideas, and it's very much in keeping with what we want to do, with what we do. And these are people that obviously are willing to learn, to grow, right, Ray? I mean,
Yes,
these
they
are, Ray, I should tell you, Ray and I had a meeting yesterday with two gentlemen from the Bronx Veterans Association, And they were so elated that we were entering and developing this program, and they volunteered to vet veterans and bring them to us as prospects for our program. And let me describe the program. We touched on it a little bit last week, but let me describe the program to your viewers once again. What we plan on doing with Yes I Can is bringing in veterans and eventually former inmates. We're going to vet them, make sure that they're capable emotionally of dealing with the pressures and the skills, skill development for owning a small business. And by a small business, I mean a small business. I'm talking about running laundromats or convenience stores or gas stations, things of this ilk. Right? Once they're vetted, we then put them into a training program based on the Gilchrist Institute Laws of Potential, Natural Intelligence, how to think, how to develop their own personal skills, how to understand their skills, give them the confidence, the motivation, and the direction.
That is correct.
Right, direction is
Yes, that is
a
correct.
large issue here, right?
It's
Right.
a very, very large issue, and one of the things I'd like to impress on them is this book that you wrote, how we analyze, understand, and decide things.
Yes.
Now that's very serious. A lot of people don't even realize any of that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we are going to do is make them understand who they are.
Okay.
And once they understand who they are and they start feeling good about who they are, there's nothing that they can't do.
Right. Right. So then, at that stage, what we then intend to do is with the assistance of investors and grant providers, purchase a business, a convenience store. And the way it will be structured would be as follows: the grant provider or the financier will hold the financing on the project, and maybe 50, 60, 70%, depending on the operation. Right? Then we will bring in equity investors, equity owners, and they will be putting up the balance of the funding, and they will get a percentage of the ownership. Then we take the vetted veteran or inmate and place them in the operation with training, and they will be owner operators. They will get a small salary plus a good percentage of the ownership of the operation. And there will be certain rules and regulations and provisions that they're going to have to abide by. One of them will be that there will be a weekly mentoring type of program that will be provided either in our studios at the Gilchrist Institute or online. Make sure that everything is okay. How are they dealing with their problems, help in dealing with their problems, and that'll be an online thing as well. They will, at some point in the future, if they're successful, as we believe they will be, they will then have the ability to buy out and or pay off the financing provided by the equity owners to maybe 90%. So the equity owner will always have an interest if they wish. If not, they can completely sell out, and then the owner operator is now a full owner operator, and he wishes to go on, sell the business, develop another business, and continue on in a fashion. By that time, which is perhaps 2 to 3 years down the road, these are contributing individuals who have turned their lives around and are able to contribute to society and to foster a family and a culture that is positive, that is working on developing their potential. And that's the thrust of this entire program, right, Ray?
Yes, sir.
We want people to develop their potential. God gave us potential. Right? He didn't give us other things by plucking them out of the air.
Right.
He said, you want, you get if you work. And that's what we want to demonstrate to this low and middle class grouping that are looking for direction and looking for help. Have I
Yes.
defined that?
You hit it all. As a matter of fact, getting and bringing up another one of your books. This is another one of the things that we want to teach them is your book that says your exceptional mind. We need to make them realize how exceptional their minds are. They don't realize how powerful your mind is, and we want to teach them that. We want to make them realize the power that they possess.
Yes.
The only power more greater than the mind is God.
Mm-hmm.
God and mind power is very serious. I don't even get colds, and not to change the subject, but I haven't had a cold in years because I do not allow my. First of all, if I get the feeling, I'll say I'm feeling uncomfortable. I never tell the body what's going on because once the body hears cold, it's going to go into cold mode. So I'm saying that to say how powerful the mind is, and this is what we're going to convey to them: how powerful their mind is, what they're working with, where they will feel so good about themselves. Doing wrong wouldn't even be an option anymore. And the purpose of the inmates, the ex-offenders, what the program's going to do for the ex-offenders is give them work. And one of the things we want to do is focus on hiring other ex-offenders.
Right.
That's one of our stipulations. If you have a business, if we assist you in forming a business or starting a business, you have to hire other ex-offenders. This helps guys that come out of prison with jobs. This will not stigmatize them like they are stigmatized now when they go to look for jobs. And with this, do you realize how many guys will stop going back to prison with this program?
Yes. Yeah.
That's the key, to keep guys. Because a lot of guys come out of prison and they really want to do right. Maybe an aunt, maybe a mother, maybe a grandmother supported them while they was incarcerated. Like I know my mother supported me. And one of the things that I wanted to do when I came home was some good things for my mom. There's a lot of guys that come home that want to reward the people that stuck with them.
Okay.
So now when they go to try to get employment to help them, and it's don't call us, we'll call you, they feel so bad that they determined to do something. And then what they usually do is wrong.
Yeah.
And the wrong puts it right back in that same position.
Yeah.
But it's designed that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, my experience in this area is those people are abused even when they end up with jobs. I had one young man several years ago who was a former inmate, and he came out and he was having a hell of a time getting a job. And he finally got a job as a driver for an ambulance company. And I saw him about 3 months later, and I said, "How you doing with the job?" He said, "I had to quit." He said, "I just couldn't do it." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Dr. Bob," he said, "they had me working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and they were paying me $325 a week." And I said, "Well, that's not good. But, you know, it's something." He said, what added insult to injury, he said, they were charging $350 for every ambulance call, and they were doing 3 to 4 a day. And
Wow.
So I was getting the equivalent of one
Whatever
call
it was. Wow.
for 60 hours worth of work. He said,
Yeah.
he said,
It was
that in
easy.
itself, he says, was debilitating to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
And not to say that you should throw away $325 a week, but when you look at things in perspective, you say, hey, hell with you, I have a worth,
Right.
You know, I'll work and I'll work hard and I'll work. You know, he wasn't afraid of working the 60 hours a week.
And
And
he just didn't like not getting paid.
yeah,
And not feeling them not realizing his value.
that's right, exactly. And that I think is one of the most important things that we can bring to that culture, to the community, is that they have a value in life.
That's right.
And that yes, I can.
Yes.
They can do this. They can make money. They can live a life of pride, and contribute to the society and to the culture, and not be a drain or be average or
Right.
or relying on the government, the society to support them.
Right.
And I think that my experience, and I certainly know yours, indicates that a lot of these people are looking to be self-evident.
Right.
They want to control their own destiny.
Right.
Right. And we're going to help them do that.
Yes,
right?
we are.
We're going
And let's not forget not forget our veterans. We're going to also do what we can to keep them focused, because what happens with them is, you know, a lot of them were so eager to go fight for their country, and then they come home and it appears as if nobody cares about them. You know, I look at TV and you see all of these companies. I mean, you see organizations asking for donations to help the veterans.
Right.
We should never have to ask for money for a veteran. A veteran should come home and already be taken care of. If he went to war and fought a war for us, and he managed to live, and he's home, the government should never have to worry about nothing else. He should be taken care of forever, because he took care of us to make sure that we have our freedom. Why is that being neglected?
Yeah.
Why do we have to constantly beg for money to help the vet when the government, the people that he helped, should help them?
Yes. Right. The toll-free number is 1-800-414-4135. Ray, let's talk a little bit about money. Let's talk about what the different parts of our program are going to be realizing. Of course, the institutions or groups that are going to be doing the debt financing will be making a nice return. What we plan to do is, at going rates, pay them 5% on their investment, and give them a kicker, maybe a 5% of the profit. The owner operator will receive anywhere from 25 to 50% to start of the operation, plus a salary. The investor, the equity owner, who invests the balance of the funds, from our calculation, will be making anywhere from 25 to as much as 60%. So these guys are going to be taking somewhat of a risk, but not the way we're going to manage this and set this up. But the returns will be extravagant, and we welcome groups. If any of you out there have some extra shekels that you would like to invest, you can invest anywhere from, say, 15,000 up to 100,000. Good returns. We will be securing your investment with an excellent profit and loss situation. So give us a call or come to our websites, and we will have programs set up that you will readily be able to invest in. Okay, and of course, like we said, you know, the owner operators will have the ability to buy out their equity investors at some time in the future, and or pay off the debt, okay, the financial investment in the project, okay? And a lot of these properties or operations will be things such as gas stations, auto shops, convenience shops, laundromats, things of this sort. Now, Down the road, I should add that one of the things we want to do, this thing gets off the ground well, is buy larger companies, move into bigger companies where there are 5, 10, 15, 20 employees, and make those employees owner-operators as well, so that we're now building in groups of constituents here for ownership possibilities, so that they have a salary, they have a job, and at the same time they own part of the company, and it's being overseen by the investor, by our company, and by the ownership, the master owner of the business. So you can go to our website this week. We'll have a sample operation posted for you. What we're going to do very soon, because we do have some funding already in place, and we have several institutions. We have at least one bank that's proposing a grant for us, and we do have other larger scale companies that are interested in our program. But if you wish to invest, please contact us. If you have somebody you think might be a good candidate for this type of business, give us a call. We'll be glad to vet them and qualify them for a position of some sort. Also, Ray had mentioned that some of these people have their own idea about what they want to do, what kind of business they, could be a barber shop, could be a shoe shine stand, or something greater than that. Correct, Ray?
Well, I have two people already I'm familiar. One is an ex-offender, and another one is a veteran. Now, the veteran has developed an energy drink. He happens to be a Latin fella, and he called the drink Latin Lover. And the drink is really, really good, and it's energizing. It gives Red Bull a run for its money. Well, he's looking to get funded for this drink. Now, I see this drink being huge. I'm talking about worldwide, everybody buying a Latin Lover, state to state. It has potential to grow. And one of the things I did tell him is he's looking to hire other veterans to work for him. Now the ex-offender, he created a hot sauce that's really, really good also. And he's looking to be funded. And again, I was his spokesman, so to speak. I went to ShopRite, and I got ShopRite interested in carrying his hot sauce. So it's just a matter of time where he's looking to be funded now, so he can manufacture the hot sauce to take to the ShopRite stores. So these are two people that we have that have developed stuff. So there might be other folks like him that have an idea for a business or created something that might be useful worldwide. These are the kind of people that we want to hear from. These are the kind of people that we want to be involved in, because not only would it help them, it would help them to help others. Because once you get the manufacturing, you got to have a factory, you got to have people working in the factory, you got to have truck drivers, you got to have people driving the trucks. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So we want to be a part of something big. And when I say something big, we want to, next year this time, we want to look back and see how many ex-offenders did we keep from going back to prison? How many vets did we keep from committing suicide or losing their mind? And when we can look back a year from now at all of the people that we saved, then we will be able to not only thank you, our supporters, or our future supporters, we also can be so happy